appearances on the season in Duke's 30 games. So they definitely are relying.
For Florida State, at the top of this lineup, it's Mudge, and then Mudge has been in this leadoff spot now for the 28th time. It's on about what the rest of this lineup should be looking for.
And you're right, Mike, just sets the tone at the
3-1, and it's bounced over to Vega at second base, who makes the quick turn on to first, who now in year number 2 with Duke after transferring in and plenty of postseason experience in the number 2 spot.
Great game since 2021 for the Seminoles.
And that just off the outside part of the plate there. Balls this team 18 for 18 in stolen base tries as she gets aboard. Sends that over to first, right to
They know that the rise ball is an option, but Jayla Wright.
So now it's a grounder deep into the hole. It's short as Baker goes to get.
On our part, it was a ruled a foul over there at second. No harm done.
Sydney Sherrill behind 0-1. And there's the stolen base.
Jump times it perfectly, and she is maybe grab some of those borderline pitches.
Harding loops it behind second. Vega was the out at first on that foul ball up the line.
You go after those counts, you expect the ball to be a little.
Coming off of being a 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Arkansas, outside of the league as well.
To evolve naturally. There's no pressure quickly.
3-1 is right to Vega at second, and all the
curve and a changeup. The defense knows to be ready behind.
First no-hitter of her career earlier this month in that series against Syracuse. A stat that she did it on just 37 pitches.
Able to take the batter's box.
Who lifts it out toward left field. And Mudge is in a couple of steps. Caser in the outfield. Josie Muffley, you've seen her on the sport. Gianna Jennings puts that on the ground, foul over to third base. And with a hitter like this,
as she speeds down the line.
That's a chopper over to Muffley. The dart to first, scooped by Leonard.
To grab it, and it looks as though we will be going to replay.
Fourth-year starter for this team goes after the first pitch.
Was tabbed as utility back in 2022. But they need
on here. Started with a ball. 9-1 was a little bit up, maybe out of the zone. It's into the gap left center, and it's Mudge on the run who makes the catch, and that retires the side. With an infield single, got left in Texas A&M to Florida State, and to excel at the plate. Hard one back to the circle, and Wright scoops it up. And
those home runs have come on pitches belt high.
And they've been patient so far. They've seen 22 pitches, swung at only 8 of them. As Wright has worked around.
Team walks, it does lead the country, but
Kerr out to left, and it's lasered off the wall. Long carom as she pulls in.
Still some pretty big shoes over there at third base. Mac Leonard hit one of the farthest home runs out there. It's fun to be in that stadium, and Florida State last year able to come.
She never played past her conference tournament there, but transfer from USF, more defensively inclined. Over at first.
When maybe they've had it a little bit more in hand, not really need to foul it off and capitalize on a mistake.
She fouled away 3 in a row, grounds that to Baker, who with speed on the base pass there. Runner
of the throw across the diamond, and now put herself here in home runs, 16 long balls, just so. And when you get a uniform, you don't argue. Well, you can see the pitch in on the hands of Edenfield. It's a really good spot.
Right, looking for and this from Edenfield is deep to center field, and homer Michaela Edenfield, number 5 second.
When you play in Tallahassee, there's an area out the ball in on the hands of Edenfield, like she hits, and look at where she sits in her ACC ranks. Absolutely.
On today's action, takes sole possession of first place as she starts it off here against Kat Sandercock, who threw just.
But that changeup got away from her and leaked into damage, knowing that power hitters stay off the.
She goes after that off the hand. They're at Ulmer Stadium.
How about is off to such a hot start. I'm excited to see how ACC play goes down the stretch. For a very dangerous hitter, you have to keep the ball down. She will hit it out at your fingertips.
Beautiful pitch from Sandercock that just disappears into the dirt. You're right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app, the ACC Network. Grounded is short. First try for Muffley on the day. The stripper for Florida State with 2 on the board. And losing just 2 starters from a year ago, 1 in the field, 1 in the circle.
Postseason and made it all the way to the championship series.
More motivation from the other team. And a swing and a miss.
In the arsenal of Jayla Wright.
Flaherty hits it right to Baker.
This Duke team has had its hiccups throughout the season. They have
down on defense to try and eliminate those mistakes. Harding scoops the 2-1 to the right side of the infield. And for the first...
Sorry, I couldn't remember who. Clemson being able to...
Atlanta. Hard liner between the legs. Flaherty recovers.
Concentrate on that hard hit ball is a... on the field.
Over to third. Harding with new faces coming into the lineup, whether it was a player...
to be coached by such a legend. He sees the game from the circle. Sid Romero.
That trust with everybody who you work. A free lick is off the hands, and it takes a bounce at short. Did that take a...
Definitely a big mistake.
To try and eliminate those mistakes. To say...
Really good game here against Florida State.
Harding scoops the 2-1 to the right side of the infield. And for the first...
4 teams all ranked in the top 25.
Blue Devils looking for their first. Atlanta. Hard liner between the legs. Flaherty recovers, but not.
Still something that the Seminoles need to concentrate.
94 to start the weekend. Last year, a very highly touted recruit coming out of high school. Downstairs from...
So she has settled in nicely at shortstop, coming field.
Over to third. Harding. Like Baker, who redshirted, or in the literal sense.
And Coach Marissa Young said of these two, it was such an easy transition as these two stepped on. Pitcher, she sees the game from the circle.
Everybody who you work with. Free lick is off the hands, and it takes a bounce at short. Did that take a bounce?
Definitely a big mistake. But
it was 0 for 2 on that play with the ball clipping her at the end of the play as well. Leonard takes care of business over at first base. Who don't follow Lonnie on Twitter, here's what you need to know is that in the morning...
Able to connect off the field and figure out dislikes, definitely a fun way to do it over a cup of coffee.
Waycaster deep in up spot is aboard on a ball that went deep. The head coach at Texas Tech, Travis, in on that action as well. This is over to Gold. The turn at second. Not in time on the
these young women.
Back in the second inning, came in to score on the end. And keeps this on the infield. Vega with quick hands, which are also available on the ESPN app. Tomorrow as well, Jenny, as you and I will have game 2 between that allegedly have not been washed in the last decade either.
Only since her season, or since her career.
And a flare is into the gap left center field, down for a base hit. Mac Leonard adds another. All 3 runs with 2 outs. And
all again had a home run in her last at bat. So the key to keeping
in the second, Mac Leonard an RBI single here in the 4th. And now runners at first and second to bring
into the lineup, coach. Well, the way that you break into a lineup is to more time if she's able to produce.
On the ground, Gold at third takes care of it by stepping on the B. More often than not, just one pitcher powering through 100. And Deanna Jennings grounded out her first time up, swings through the
twice, but more often than not, you are seeing
staff that can bring you a lot of different looks. Pitch, slow roller, scooped onto first by Flaherty.
To be able to come away with that out, so important. Country is once you come out of steady enough looks to be sharp and ready to go. In the outfield, reads that one well, comes up with a nice out very often. But if it's going to be up in the zone, on the bat of Gold. Making sure that you can stay in your legs and use your power on your bat.
Various minor league locations. Hit hard on an 0-2 down the line. Tracked down by Mudge in the corner. 2 away as Duke has its first base hit of the night, looking for its first runs. trying to the tournament that Duke went on to win.
Plate is not just hard to make contact with, but hard.
Keeping it foul sounds difficult too, just making contact like that. And you state your top 10 in a very busy league. And as we lead things off here in the fifth, it's Kaylee Mudge for the third.
Out in ACC play, but then also where it takes them into, so challenge current players.
Mudge is out on the strikeouts. Just played Tuesday night in the first game of 3. And that's just going to be the case every year. Got to leave some space and some scholarship dollars available for players who are not coming out of high school. Flaherty in the thing. But just little things like that can compound to become troublesome.
Here, pitcher fielding practice this week to make sure that one does.
Times to Amina Vega at second. Flaherty was just all fouled away in the 2-2. Diving stop Vega for out number 2.
A little souvenir that he gets to take home.
Low again to Waycaser. 3.
Really tough Seminole team.
And it's ball 4. Waycaser draws the walk. From hard to even exceptionally more difficult. Katie Dack takes ball. Got Waycaser at first, who was
to be able to contain the power.
That is into center field and down for a base hit. Flaherty is in, takes the extra base, and as the throw, beg your pardon, that's Christina Hartley. There's the pinch run. More vocal. Roll. Half swing there over to first base. Toppy has got it, and the inning FSU in the series opener in Durham.
We've seen that change quite a bit this season.
And right, Kelly Torres leading it off. And skies this one over to the right side into the 37 with 1 out in the 5th. You went back, setting a new world record for between
the no man's land out there in right inside, but gets enough barrel on it to be just beyond the reach of Keene. Well, you need to give those other pitchers opportunities to perform over at second base.
Popped up, and it ends the inning. Hartley into play.
Losses in those games with a bunch of errors.
I would love to know what the waiver situation is like for that. But earlier today, too, we had Jayla
actually getting called for it. In years past, the
downstairs, ball 4, and the threats.
You're vulnerable with that guard.
Grounded to short. Muffley over to first, and Florida State from
miscues definitely need to be cleaned up as these two teams head into the
going up against Duke. For our entire crew.